Alright, this video is pretty important, and like with most of my videos, it's going to be mostly just me talking. I decided not to be lazy. I pulled out my keyboard and plugged it in so I could type an actual title to this. There's a war against men in the United States. It's got nothing to do with the law as far as what's written, except that people are trying to get written laws that are extremely sexist and already exist. Through most of my life, I have fought for women's rights here in the United States. I've known a lot of women who were highly abused in my lifetime, and I do fight for their rights. But it's not just women. I know a lot of men who have been highly abused in their lives. It's not always men who are the predators. I mean, we can see today just by looking on TikTok and Facebook and YouTube that women are being taught to be hateful creatures. This is ongoing. When there are hate songs from women and they're making music videos about, well, taking a baseball bat to a man's vehicle, or women assaulting men, and people cheer it on. Do what? Sorry, there's someone talking to me. What's that? Yes, ma'am. Sorry about that. I think drive-thru's still open. Yes, ma'am. Oh, my God. Oh, that kind of hurts a little bit. Now, through everything that I've been going through, the person that I am in real life versus the person that I have to be in order to get heard, they're not the same. When I had to go in alone, I wasn't heard. I was given the same treatment that, well, every disabled male has to deal with when he goes in alone. Males especially are prone to being victimized because nobody cares. We've trained American society to have this mentality that all men are predators. No men are worth listening to. A man can literally go to prison for looking in a woman's direction. That was established back in the 90s with a couple of pretty decent profile cases. They weren't high profile. If they'd have been high profile, a lot of people would have gone, holy shit, you can go to prison for looking in someone's direction? And then, of course, we've taught women to be manipulative. It's not that women are any more naturally manipulative than men. It's that we've got this fucking stupid ass fucking sex war going on. It's been going on since we were fucking cave people. It's stupid. It is stupid. It's dumb. Straight up. Now, what I'm looking at here, I'm trying to look for some of the videos that I have posted or am posting. Now, I see a lot of stuff that in this war against good men, a lot of people tell me, Sean, you can't call yourself a good man. You cursed at that poor girl. You stalked that poor girl, so on and so forth. Sure, I fucking cursed. Yeah, goddamn right I cursed. I was being threatened. My loved ones were being threatened. I couldn't go see my support network. I was stuck with a bunch of ignorant fucking Nebraskans telling me there's no services in western Nebraska. I got to go to Colorado to the Front Range. Meanwhile, in Colorado on the Front Range, I'm having to deal with violence because of rumors that people knew to be untrue. And I'm not allowed to show that in court. And a lot of cops, when I'm trying to turn in, like, for example, Scott DaCosta, well, I'm trying to turn in predators in Chapel, Nebraska, whose names I know, and I'm trying to turn them in for threats against my life and assaulting me. Scott's telling me he can't do nothing about opinion. You know what? You may not be able to do anything about those opinions, but you can sure as shit do something about the crimes being committed against me. But did he? No. Every single one of the crimes committed against me, he let go. Over and over and over and over again. And I tried telling the state patrol, and they just kept on making me go to Scott DaCosta, even to turn in Scott DaCosta. And then I was put not in jail, but in prison. That's right, for crimes that weren't even committed. I was locked up for 7 months. I was repeatedly assaulted. I was denied my rights to legal materials, denied my rights to the phone calls that I needed to make, denied the right to go to court. They repeated. My public pretender wouldn't do shit. But they don't have to. Who cares about a homeless male? Who gives a fuck? If you don't do your job when it comes to a homeless male, who's going to care? You just pretend for about 10 or 15 minutes at most in court, and you get paid for it. Woohoo! Thanks for the fucking help, assholes. And I get to read all of this racism and all of this sexism all over the place. When I worked for Cabela's corporate offices, I was a janitor. I worked for Jamie's grandma. Her name was Janet Roberts. And we cleaned Cabela's corporate offices every night. And of course, you got to deal with people in Nebraska spitting their chew out in the garbage can, and it's gross. But also, there are half-naked pictures of firemen all over the place because women work at Cabela's corporate as well. And there's a bunch of little signs all over the place for years that say, so many men, so little Tylenol. That's fucking sexist as shit. And it's posted all over the place, not just in these women's cubicles, but in the common areas. Blatant sexism all over the fucking Cabela's corporate offices building in Sydney, Nebraska, and it's magically okay. Meanwhile, there are men who lost their jobs there because they had, well, Sports Illustrated swimsuit edition models on their calendars. You can't do that as a male. You can do that as a female. You can objectionalize men at the workplace as a female, and you can also be sexist towards that same exact scenario. I mean, the so many men, so little aspirin, or so many men, so little Tylenol, those signs being all over the place, even attached to and in the cubicles of the women who have half-naked firemen. So you're objectionalizing us and saying that we can't objectionalize you. You're being sexist towards us, and we're not allowed to be sexist back. I personally believe that it's equality to be sexist back to somebody who is being sexist. I don't like doing it, and I avoid it until it comes time to make the point. And then I just change one word. I change the word men to women. You can't do that on YouTube. You cannot do that on Facebook, and here's why. Because both of them have sexist algorithms. Women are allowed to do this. Women are allowed. Facebook will allow women to man bash on Facebook. It's okay. I still need help being heard. I'm not the right gender, though. And we see a lot of this stuff with BLM too. And don't get me wrong, I've been fighting for the rights of minorities most of my life as well. That doesn't mean that I have to agree with every narrative. No, I through hell myself. Having somebody tell me that I don't know nothing about going through hell because of the color of my skin, are you out of your fucking mind? That's like a lot of these women's groups. teaching y'all that men can't be victims. Is that true? I can tell you from personal experiences in my life that yes, boys do get molested, boys do get raped. We're not allowed to say nothing, though, or we're not real men. Isn't that right? Now, then I get these people who are out trolling and then trying to play like they're the victims or they're poor virgin fucking ears. I'm going to read one of these for you. One of the important things about fighting for equality is that it has to be equality for everyone. When we make special rights for certain people, we're breaking the Constitution. Of course, we started off as a nation breaking the Constitution, didn't we? All right, so this person, Fifi. If y'all don't know what a Fifi is, you should ask somebody who's been to prison what a Fifi is. Maybe they'll tell you, maybe they won't. Depends on how embarrassed they are. This person, Fifi, commented, I'm tired of hearing about it. This person got on my video to tell me they're tired of hearing about it. Well, I didn't make them come to my video, did I? No. So later on, this person types to me, let's see. Fifi typed, I'm tired of hearing about it. I typed, then don't come back. Simple. If you didn't want to hear it, you wouldn't be here trolling. And Fifi typed, it's far too much work to avoid idiots. They are far too numerous. I prefer that the idiots avoid me. Huh. Is this person trying to hint something? Like maybe they want blocked from my channel or something? I don't know. And then, of course, on Facebook here, and I got to deal with this shit in real life, just so you know. But I've got messages and notifications from people. There's a woman named Vanna Lewis. She's one of the people who pretended to be my friend after Natalie was killed. Pretended like she wanted to be my friend and she wanted to help, but she really didn't. Basically, she gets on to get snoopy about the shit that she sees on the news or in one of these web sleuth groups, and she wants to get snoopy no matter who it is. She's gonna go through, and that's her thing. That's her, what's the nicest way to say it? That's her hobby. Okay. She's totally into all these dead people things. It's fucking creepy. But it also becomes a popularity contest. Now let's click onto this. It's a sexist post. And here's the thing, a lot of women who have children by different men, they don't want to be judged, but they want to judge a man who has children by different women. That's sexism. If it's wrong, no matter who you are. If it's wrong to be a deadbeat, it's not just wrong to be a deadbeat dad, it's also wrong to be a deadbeat mom. Now, where the hell? Oh, there it is. Sorry, trying to find my ashtray. I typed, more sexism out of you, sad and pathetic. And her friend Bree White typed, LOL. She also typed, only men who hold double standards are offended by this. See, now, there, you've got somebody who believes that by challenging my manhood or by making an insinuation on my manhood, double standards, only men who hold double standards are offended. No, I'm just as equally offended by men doing horrible shit as I am by women doing horrible shit. I think it's wrong for men to get a woman drunk and take advantage of her. I think it's wrong for women to do the same thing to men. And I'm not going to pretend it doesn't happen. Now, of course, this is a popularity contest likes and stuff like that. Now, a lot of these people who speak out, they have paid channels. I don't have a paid channel. A lot of them also they'll try to cater to what people want to hear, and I'm not gonna fucking do that. I'm really not. I type Bree White. Are you sure if I call an orange an apple, does it become an apple? Quips don't replace facts. Now, I've explained why it's sexist. It's not complicated for anybody who's going to look at it instead of as this is a man and the rules for a man are different from the rules for a woman. Anybody who knows how to use their brain is going to realize that he's being judged differently than a woman in that situation, especially by these women who are constantly posting up stuff about how, yes, women who have children by multiple men, they're still people. They're still people. A lot of what we've got going on is, people trying to basically, how do I even say this without sounding like a dick? Who cares if I sound like a dick? We've got a bunch of people trying to sell women who have kids, basically. I mean, sure, it's not literally selling them, but you've got this woman who's got kids. She's had some pretty fucked up relationships in the past. It's not about the kids as far as somebody not willing to date her. In many of these cases, it's not the kids that are the reason that a man won't date her. And then there's also the fact that a lot of women complain about the men who won't date them because they have kids. If you have a man who doesn't like kids, why are you going to complain at him until he goes out with you? Do you really think that's going to work? That's part of the reason he doesn't like kids. I love kids. I really do. I don't have any kids. In most of my situations, I've had to think about the children first. And that's a tough thing to do when you've lived in the system and you know how fucked up it is. You got to ask yourself, is this situation more scary than the system? In some cases, it is. Anyway, Bree White typed, what does that have to do with anything? How is this post sexist or pathetic? Or are you just mad because it calls out men for having a double standard? No, I'm calling out women for having a double standard. I'm specifically calling out these women for having a double standard. How they're downing and trashing on a man who has kids with more than one woman, and he takes care of his kids. This man is a father. He does have children. He does have these children live with him. He does take care of them. He is a single father, so far as what I've read so far, and I didn't get through all of it. But they're talking trash on this man like he's a horrible person for having children from more than one woman. These very same women who want us to feel sorry for these women who can't find somebody to date because they have children from more than one man. It's not always that there's children. There are a lot of guys who don't mind dating a woman who's got children. They understand that the children do need to come first. But are those the men that those women are trying to date? No, it's not. The ones who are complaining about how these certain men won't date a woman with children, well, why do you want, as a mother, as somebody who has children, why would you want somebody, why would you complain about somebody not dating you who doesn't like children, doesn't want to be around your children, won't date you because you have children, why would you want that person to date you? That shows an extreme sickness. An extreme sickness. The same kind of sickness that says, oh, well, if that dude's only into women who have a prosthetic leg, maybe I'll have to find a way to accidentally cut my leg off. It's fucking sick. It's sick. And sure, it's not that extreme as chopping your own leg off, but you never know. I mean, truly, we have allowed women in this country to get away with so much. Women are 11 times more likely to be stalkers than men, but men are what? Like 12 times more likely to go to jail or prison for it? I mean, this is a gross mismatch here, folks. Why are women so comfortable in stalking men and other women? Why are they so comfortable doing so? That's what we need to ask ourselves and what we need to ask our society. Why do women feel so comfortable doing this in the United States? Now, of course, there's more of this here. Let's see, copying and pasting from another post because I don't want to retype. Blah, 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 blah. Like I said, for me, it's not a popularity thing. I'm not going to tell you the truth just because it's popular. The truth is not popular. I have a penis. People don't want to hear that I've been victimized. I have a penis. I should be able to take care of it myself. My disabilities should magically disappear because I have a penis. My financial issues should magically not exist because I have a penis. I should be able to perform hard manual labor because I have a penis. Because I have a penis, I must be twice as strong as any woman out there. This is the crap that I get shoved down my throat. Men are stronger than women. Which ones? Which ones? I'm not a big dude. Most of the women I know could beat me piss limber, quick, fast, and in a hurry. My back is fucked up. My wrists are fucked up. My shoulders fucked up. My neck's fucked up. I've sustained a lot of injuries in the last few years. That's what happens when you stand up for your rights, but you don't fit the right group or the right category. I've fought for the rights of black people most of my life. I grew up in the system getting my ass beat for being white. And a lot of the time it was from black kids. But I don't go pretending that every black person out there is those kids who beat me up. One thing that we are not teaching girls, that we are constantly throwing down men's throats and boys' throats and everybody else's throats. Respect women, respect women, respect women. You never hit a woman, never hit a woman, never hit a woman, never hit a woman. Do we teach these things to girls about men? What do we do when a girl hits a man? If he just takes it, we say, ho, ho, you got beat up by a girl. If he pushes her away because he's fucking sick of being hit, his nose is bleeding, he's got a black eye, and he pushes her away, all of a sudden he's a horrible monster who's a woman beater. Holy Christ, no. It's called accountability. We have been taught and trained that women are not to be held accountable for anything. Women do commit a lot more crimes than men. They're just not convicted. In most cases, men will not call the cops if their woman is beating on them. And I say their woman because these are grown women. Grown women in a domestic relationship in most of these cases. Women who call these men their boyfriends, their husbands. When it comes to sexism, we got to fight it on both sides of the line. I am totally down with feminism. I am totally down with it. Feminism, not sexism from people flying the banner of feminism. That'd be like Nazis flying under the banner of the United States or Israel. It'd be like Facebook changing their name to Meta. Does it change what they did? Does it change their line of thinking? Does it change their input? Most of the abuse that I have taken and had to take repeatedly is because of a narrative that was bullshit. And I have tried to get these places to look at the fact that it is bullshit. The narrative that I'm being harmed over, that the news assisted in selling that bullshit, and the police assisted in that bullshit. And many of my own supposed friends were threatened, harassed, or intimidated, and ultimately helped out my predators. I hear white men this and white men that, and here's the thing. You look at the Civil War. 600,000 white Northerners lost their lives to end slavery. That is what the Civil War was fought over, regardless of what Southerners want to try to sell you. States were leaving the Union before Lincoln was ever even in office. The reason for that is because Lincoln, his whole fight for presidency was all on the fact that he was trying to end slavery. He was a political nobody before he fought for the rights of slaves. That's what put him on the American radar. Lincoln is a very fascinating feller. While I was in prison in Lincoln, Nebraska, I read a book about him. Now, a lot of my heroes weren't always peaceful. The things that were done to me, if they were being done in 1776, the people who did these things to me would have been shot. Thank goodness I'm a nicer feller than folks were back then. I know that the court system doesn't work. Most poor people are well aware of the fact that the court system doesn't work. A drug dealer couldn't afford $500,000 bail, and mind you, this did happen. Several of my court dates where I was railroaded, there was a drug dealer there who had gotten busted, had to post bail for $500,000 in another county, and then he got busted again selling the same drugs, and his bond was only $175,000. He was able to buy his way out. He also had the money for a lawyer. Whereas I'm completely screwed because I don't have the money for a lawyer. And because, of course, women want to define for you what a real man is. Instead of making a valid point, they want to down on your manhood. Say, oh, well, a real man this or a real man that. You're just a little boy. You have no idea how many women, not just on the internet, blame me for the abuse that they have gone through. I've never met these women. I've never hit them. I've never kicked them. I've never nothing to them. But because I'm a man, they feel that it must be my fault. Meanwhile, the things that they are blaming on me and shoving on me are not things that I've ever done to anyone. I have literally never done these things. To assume that someone is a rapist or a pedophile or some bullshit like that just because they have different genitalia than you shows that same sickness. When you're going to talk about how horrible men are, how they only think with their penis, and then you're going to post up about how you just really need to get your guts smashed. You know what? That's gross. I get that that's a metaphor for sex nowadays, but when I think of guts, most of the time when I've heard people use the word guts, they're talking about their bad guts. That usually means diarrhea. That's not sexy. I don't want to have sex with you when you're talking about stuff that makes me think of diarrhea. And smashing them does not sound like a good thing. Those things contain poop. You make yourself really sick smashing them guts. It just sounds gross to me. I don't get why that's anything anybody would want. And yeah, a lot of these women are addicts. Yes, I do consider addicts human beings. Yes, I have many friends on my Facebook that are drug addicts, and yes, I am aware that they're drug addicts. Yes, they talk to me about their drug addictions. Some of them even try to get drugs from me. You know? I don't pretend that they're not people. But I do explain to you guys they have lost their humanity at some point, and not all of them. Not all of them have lost their humanity. And many of them, they feel that they should be forgiven. And we get this shoved at us a lot about how a pretty girl who is on drugs is the victim, but a man who is on drugs must be a predator. He must be a terrible person. He's a monster because he's an addict. And why is that? Why is it that the rules are so different for men than they are for women? Despite all of the hatred that I get from women and from men, of course, because we're taught that we're supposed to hold the doors open. We're taught that we're supposed to be the ones who don't show emotion unless it's anger to defend the woman. That's what we're taught. We're taught that we need to hide our emotions. And, a lot of women tell us, men shouldn't have to hide their emotions. But then when we bear it all out there, the way that women do to us wallflowers, oh my God, the fucking tune changes immediately. A lot of people want to make it a pissing contest, not just men. Men are not the only people who are competitive. We keep trying to teach our children that men and women are so much different. They're not. They're absolutely not. Men are taught that they're not allowed to have those emotions or that they're not allowed to express them. Even by the women that tell us we're allowed to have those emotions and we're allowed to express them, the way that we are treated when we have them or express them is not the way that we are, of course, trained that we're supposed to treat a woman that way. And then we have this, we need to be equal. And then it's, oh, well, you're acting like a girl. You're acting like a woman. How about equality, folks? What happened to equality? What happened to that? What happened to, men should be allowed to express their emotions too. Men should be allowed to have emotions too. You can't make other people happy. And when you need their help, and you've got two different people and you need help from both of them to show the truth, and they both got different opinions on what you should be doing, stuff that you've already done. That's why you need somebody there in person, so you're not constantly having to do the same thing over and over again that doesn't work, just to show the new person who is a weekend warrior that it doesn't work. But then when it doesn't work, they say, I helped you. No, I spent my resources jumping through hoops for help that you promised me. And instead, it was the help that you want to get. You didn't help me to get it. You just told me go here. You just told me call the Nebraska Attorney General's office. There's a lot of calls with the Nebraska Attorney General's office on this channel. Y'all got no idea how many white men I see out there fighting for y'all's rights. But we're blamed simply because of the color of our skin and our gender. And it's socially acceptable, and it's social media acceptable. It is workplace acceptable. I fought for equality, not to be treated like a dog for women's bad decisions. And I'm not saying women as a whole. I'm saying individually. We have taught the females in our society to do the same thing as male predators, to take it out on whoever it's easiest to take it out on, usually a wallflower, someone that nobody cares about, somebody who's not pretty, not rich, and not fucking popular. And even if they are popular, like me, I was actually pretty damn popular in Boulder. It's because I was good to people, even if they were drug addicts, even if they were alcoholics. I would give them blankets while they were completely fucking drunk, even knowing that I had given them blankets 3 nights in a row. People would come to Starbucks. That was the only safe place that a lot of them kids had to go, was Starbucks. You know how uncomfortable that made me feel? But Starbucks was basically. It's your safe place. If you get to Starbucks, maybe Starbucks Sean will be in there, and I'll get to bitch at him about my parents, or I'll get to bitch at him about my brothers and sisters, or... Well, in Starbucks, I can't tell them, hey, you can't sit next to me. I have to be pleasant. Now, part of that, there was a manager there, and she told me, all right, Sean, here's the thing. You know, you do a lot for us. You're really good to us, and you're always in here. So you do basically represent Starbucks here, and we do you a lot of favors because of it. When we have a problem and there's a homeless person, you know, we notice that you deal with the situation, and better than we're able to deal with it. People seem to listen to you. We don't have to call the cops. You know, I respect what you do. And I did get a lot of perks at Starbucks. Those people there on Pearl Street in Boulder, Colorado were extremely good to me. When there was a homeless guy who had gotten kicked out, and he had threatened a man who worked at Starbucks by the name of Aaron with a knife. After that, for I want to say 6 or 7 years, I walked the people at Starbucks to the garbage can every time they went out to take out the garbage for their own safety. So after Natalie died and a lot of them Starbucks folks were trying to speak up, there's a reason for that. Now, the point of that story is that I was told, Sean, you're basically a representative of the store here because you are here so much, because we allow you, certain things, because we allow you to stay far longer than oftentimes we should have, or we give you free coffee, because we do like you. We do like the fact that you help out. When people come in here, you have to be courteous and respectful at all points. And I was. I absolutely was. But also, it was already in my nature, which is the reason that they liked me. We need to fight for all of the victims instead of having a pissing contest over who's the bigger victim, or claiming that the 29 million men in the United States who are molested or raped before the age of 18 don't exist. You want equality for your group. Well, guess what? That's not equality. There are perks to being a man, I'll admit. There's perks to being white, I'll admit. There's also perks to being black. There's also perks to being a woman. When it comes to narcissism, people take pictures they care about the most. And we're coming to realize that, well, American women especially are extreme narcissists. They're taught to be. I'm not against women being women. I'm against teaching sexism, especially the way that we're doing it. Teaching a woman that it's okay to play victim every time she doesn't get what she wants. Even having Facebook algorithms set up so that women are allowed to be sexist. You change one word, and lo and behold, you're getting banned for 30 days. You change the word men to women on one of those posts from one of these women, and you're going to get banned for 30 days, but they won't take hers down. All you changed was one word. Amazing. And I'm on my P's and Q's as far as that goes. But also, when people are having a double standard, a lot of y'all, you say, oh, well, you should mind your own business. No, minding your own business don't change shit. It don't. If Lincoln had minded his own business, there might still be slaves in America to this day. Matter of fact, there are slaves in America to this day. The 13th Amendment made it legal for anybody who is convicted of a crime to be used as slave labor. There's also community service, which is also slave labor. You're not getting paid for that time.